of BHF Foundation. It's a youth program. Let me just say this again. BHF Foundation is for those who are probably joining us for the first time, who might wonder what we are doing. This is the BHF Foundation. It's a youth organization that tries to make sense of what is happening around and also make our contribution towards getting a better nation so we can build a better society. It's no doubt that the youth generally now are the most endangered species because the adults have failed. Uh, it's, they have very little. The youth have actually very, very little to take away from the elders in terms of morality, in terms of role model. The elders, the leaders have not only failed, they have failed woefully. And so the youth seems to be very, very confused at the moment. And it's even becoming more dangerous because when you do not have who to be able to use as role model, you find out that there's a tendency that you always be moving in the wrong direction and you have no one to copy from. Because let's be very sincere. What are we going to take? What are we going to get as a takeaway from the current uh, leaders that we have in Nigeria today? Is it in terms of morality? Is it in terms of lies? Is this in terms of bad governance? Is it in terms of looting the treasury? We are celebrating Democracy Day, which is tomorrow, which is actually tomorrow, June 12th. And when you look at the current situation of Nigeria now, and you are able to get access to the resources that Nigeria have been able to make through oil and other little taxes and investment here and there, they are running into millions of dollars. But there's practically nothing to show. Nothing. We can't come now and say Nigeria is better off today than it was 30 years ago during the era of the June 12th. We can't come out to say Nigeria is better off today in terms of economy, in terms of infrastructure. So we are trying to look at the area we can touch now and say, okay, these are the areas that we have done well, and the youth want to emulate from the current form of leadership from 1999 when democracy came in to date. So we have been practicing unhindered democracy for over 20-something years now. And the only thing that have made progress so far, those who have really enjoyed this democracy, who have benefited from democracy from 1999 to now, are the politicians. Most of the houses and the properties they are buying in Nigeria today are being bought by politicians. So when we talk about the economy going down and people are suffering, people are hungry, check. You will see that it doesn't affect the politicians. That's why you discover they are moving from one party to the other. It's not about the people. It is foolishness to think that they are interested in they're not interested in the people. The Nigerian politicians are not interested in the people. What they are interested in is how to loot the treasury and to make money for themselves. They have houses, cars, and properties. They keep buying and buying and buying and buying. I go to most of the big cities. You see most of the houses. You say, oh, this one is owned by the politician. This one is owned by the politician. This one is owned by the politician. The senators, House of Rep, the governors, this and this. They keep acquiring and acquiring. We were thinking that immediately the subsidy is removed, Nigeria will take, because they put Nigerian problem on subsidy. They made it look as if all our problem is because of subsidy. It was well marketed. They sold it out. The provider of subsidy was sold out, was well marketed. And we were thinking that once the subsidy is removed, Nigerians will begin to enjoy life. But sadly enough, immediately the subsidy was removed, that is when the pain of Nigerians increased. And it has been like that. It's a pattern. It's a pattern of leadership from the beginning. You remember the days of SAP, they tell you, once we embark on the structural adjustment program, Nigeria will turn to America when Babangida was there. They did everything possible, and that's how they began to devalue the Naira. From Babangida time, Nigeria has not recovered. And most of those policies are policies that were done by given by the IMF and the World Bank. That's why we have a lot of school of thought that believe that the IMF and the World Bank, they are agency of the Western nations to destroy African country, or maybe increase it a little bit to say to destroy the third world. They want to make sure that we are still in bondage, so we can remain a nations, a continent of AIDS, where they have to give us aid, where they use aid to tell us what we need to do. We need to do this. Most of the policies that we are going through today in Africa and the third world are policies that were given by the third world country. I mean, the policies that were given by IMF. And like they say, the Holy Book says this: the lender is always this. The borrower is always a servant to the lender. And because we're a borrowing nation, we have no choice than to follow the IMF instruction. The IMF will not tell America what to do. The IMF will not tell Britain what to do. They won't tell Canada what to do. They won't tell Japan what to do, but they will tell Africans. They will tell the third world countries, because the problem of the third world countries is IMF and World Bank. The Western world have succeeded over the years to use the IMF and World Bank as an instrument of oppression, as an instrument of poverty, to continue to ensure that the African nation does not maximize its potentials, to continue to ensure that we are not a developed country, an industrial country, so we can continue to remain a country of raw materials, where they can begin to come and tap our precious stone, our this, our that, oil, and so that they can use it to develop their country. They just see Africa as a nation of raw materials which they will need. It's sad. It's sad. Each time I see what is going on, I begin to wonder, what is the hope for the black race? What is the hope for the black man? It was the late Fela, the Afrobeat legend, that said once in one of his songs that even though we have been free, they've given us independence, we've not been free mentally. So economically speaking and mentally speaking, we are still in bondage to the Western world. And we will continue to remain so until the African leaders themselves will make up their mind that it's time to industrialize our country. It's time to cut off receiving instructions from IMF, and we are going to ensure that the government is for the people. All the advice that IMF is giving is not for the benefit of Nigerians. Okay, look at what has happened in the last few years. If you ask an ordinary Nigerian in the streets, what is the difference between this government and probably the last government that passed, or the difference between this government and the Jonathan's government? Under a free and fair election, there's no reason, nobody will vote. And if you bring Jonathan back, people will vote for him. Because when Jonathan was there, people have rest of mind. They tell you they want to save the future. This is what they've been saying for over 30 years. They want to save the future. We are in the future they want to save 30 years ago, and the future they tried to save 30 years ago is even worse than 30 years. I begin to talk about foodstuffs on the increase. Bag of rice we used to buy for 3,000, 4,000. The same bag of rice is almost 100,000. If not of recent, that there was a slight drop in the price, almost 1,000 naira. Who can believe that fuel that we are buying for 180 naira? I remember when Jonathan increased the fuel to 114 naira or thereabout, the heaven almost came down. These same people right now that are in government, we are organizing all kinds of riots. They went to Ojota and they were saying all kinds of things, manipulating the people. But there's a statement that Tunde Bakare made, which to a large extent is true. But it's unfortunate. He said then, when Jonathan said he wanted to remove subsidy, he said then that Nigerians should resist it, because even if they remove the subsidy, Nigerians will not benefit from the subsidy they removed. That's what Tunde Bakare said then, and that's the truth. Now Nigerians, they've removed subsidy now. How has Nigerians benefited from it? The money they've removed from subsidy, we don't even know where it is. We don't even know what they're using it to do. If it's electricity, they've used the money to fix It's understandable. As we are talking right now, we are paying more for electricity and we are getting less service. And they are telling you